Lesson 3, topic distance formula, learning target. I can use the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points in a coordinate plane. So here we have a coordinate plane, and sometimes we can find the distance between 2 points if they're vertical, like this. If I wanted to find the distance between these 2 points, the length of that line, I could just count the jumps. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I know the distance is 9 units. Also works as well when we have horizontal lines. Again, we can count the jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I know this would be 11. However, if we wanted to find the distance of this line, the length of that, how long that is, we don't have nice squares that we can jump on because we're slicing through them at an angle. So this is where our distance formula is going to help us find the distance between 2 coordinate points. So our distance formula is the distance equals, and remember this symbol is the square root of our x value subtracted and squared, and then our y value subtracted and squared. So we're going to use that x1, y1, x2, y2 for our coordinate points. So you should remember doing this labeling for our slope formula. So it's very similar, but we're just plugging it into a distance formula. So let's jump into an example. And we're going to calculate the distance between our 2 points. We have 6, 12 and negative 3, 9. So the first thing we want to do is label our coordinate points. We want to label them x1, y1, x2, y2, because each coordinate point pair is an xy pairing. And this is our first coordinate point, so it's our x1 and our y1. And this is our second coordinate point, so it's our x2 and our y2. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug those numbers into our distance formula. So I'm going to replace all the letters with their number value. So I'm going to rewrite this, but when I see x2, I'm going to replace it with x2, which is negative 3. Minus x1, well, I'm going to replace that with x1, which is 6. Close the parentheses, squared, plus, then we're going to do the same thing for our y's. We have y2, so I'm going to replace that with 9. Minus y1, I'm going to replace that with 12. Close the parenthesis and square it. Now I'm going to show you how you can use your calculator to solve this whole thing. So this is the calculator we have linked on Schoology. So the first thing you need to type in is that square root. So to get a square root on our calculator, we have to press 2 buttons. We have to press the blue button, and then this button right here that says x squared. You can see the little square root in the top left corner. So now that we have the square root, we're going to type in everything else that we see on the screen just as is. So parentheses, negative 3 minus 6, close the parenthesis and square it, plus parenthesis, 9 minus 12, close the parenthesis and square it. Once we have it all written just as we see it, we press enter and we get our answer. Now we are going to round this. So we're going to take 9.48, but that 8 we're going to round up to a 9 because the number after it is higher than 5. So 9.49 would be our correct answer. I will take 9.48 if you put it on like the Schoology test. It will be acceptable, but we would want to round it appropriately to be 9.49. And that is how you use the distance formula. So let's do one more example. Calculate the distance between negative 2, 4 and negative 8, 14. So again, first thing to do is label those coordinate points. We have our first pair, so x1, y1, Then we have our second pair, so x2, y2. And then we have our distance formula, so we are going to substitute in our values. So we're going to start by making that square root. And then we have x2, so we're going to put x2, which is -8, minus x1, which is -2, and then square it. So sometimes you will have that minus and negative. It's okay to have those two negative signs right next to each other. Make sure you put them when it's needed. Plus, now we'll substitute in our y values. We have y2, which is 14, minus y1, which is 4. Close the parenthesis and square it. Right now, I would like you to type this into your calculator and figure out what the answer would be. All right, so let's check and see what we should type in and make sure we get it correct. We've got the blue button, then the x squared button to get that square root, parentheses, -8 minus -2, close the parenthesis and then square it, plus parentheses 14 minus 4, close the parentheses, square it, equals 11.66. And we can keep it 11.66 because there's a 1 after that 6, which means it just stays. We don't have to change the number there. So our answer would be 11.66. That's all the notes I have for you. Go ahead and move into your practice.